All right, welcome to the warm-up. We are in week 7 of Houston, Texas high school football. That's Jeff Power on board for Solo. We are going to try to get you ready for some more action as we're honing in on a playoff schedule here. We're trying to figure out which teams are going to make it, which teams are going to sit home. I usually say golfing, but I don't know if these kids golf. Maybe they won't be playing golf. They'll be on to their next sport, right, Jeff?
Yeah, that's it.
But it's Houston, so we're going to have a 23 6A game in our schedule. So let's go into the lineup and talk about our game of the week at C.E. King and their mighty powerful offense taking on Summer Creek, who just can't seem to lose.
Yeah, I tell you what, C.E. King has been impressive this year as well, just like Summer Creek. King is 4-1. Even their one loss was to a strong Dickinson team. Of course, King defeated Goose Creek Memorial 70-20 last week. Deion Sims averaging about 172 yards per game with 15 total touchdowns, including 14 TDs on the ground. Their quarterback, Timothy Potts, has 9 touchdown passes. King doesn't need to throw it as much with Sims chalking up that kind of yardage on the ground. But I tell you what, his opponent coming up, Summer Creek, that's going to be an interesting matchup. And if you think about it, King and Summer Creek have both played Atascocita. There's a common opponent right there. King won by 15 2 weeks ago, 70-55 over Atascocita. Meanwhile, the Summer Creek Bulldogs were given all they could handle by Atascocita last week. SC won by 3 points, 38-35. Receiver Benny Easter, who averages 106 yards receiving per game with 9 total touchdowns. Braylon Causey, he's that starting tailback with 7 TD runs, while quarterback Noah Spinks has over 1,400 yards passing and 17 TD passes. Just ridiculous stats. But, Spinks rarely runs the football. Summer Creek is balanced offensively, but I am a little bit concerned about their defense facing a great ground and pound team like C.E. King and Deion Sims. This should be another high-scoring game in 23 6A. I tell you what, this is a very top-heavy district. Throw North Shore into the mix here as well, and I tell you what, those 4 teams are tough.
Absolutely. It's always tough for the 5th place team because they probably would make it in just about every other district, but not in this one. So this year, the darling of our show has been Klein. We've been kind of pushing Klein a lot because they haven't had a lot of success, and now they are. Well, if we switch over one more district to 16 6A, there's a team over there too. Waller is having some success behind TK Gaines, and they're taking on Cy Ranch, who is all of a sudden rolling now.
Yeah, well, both teams are 2-0 in district play. That's 16 6A Division II. Waller's win over Cypress Lakes, 54-21, was impressive. Waller QB TK Gaines. I know you love this guy, Ward. He's amazing. Listen to this. 1,000 yards passing, about 154 on the ground to go with 15 total touchdowns. He accounted for over 400 total yards and 5 touchdowns for that offense in that last game against Cy Lakes. They're outscoring opponents right now 213-101. They've been really doing great on the ground, but you know what? TK Gaines is not only just a great, quarterback and runner and thrower. He's a sophomore with a lot of talent. In fact, he just led Team USA in baseball against Mexico. They won the tournament, and he was named the MVP on top of that. And that's why he missed week 3. So the guy can play baseball, he can play football, he can do everything. Of course, Cy Ranch coming off an 84-14 win over Cy Park. And I tell you what, very impressive in that victory. Braden Baker's the quarterback, almost 1,300 yards passing and 17 TDs for Cy Ranch. And Peyton Thomas, he'll get it done on the ground for him. Christian White is also a threat out of the backfield. But I tell you what, they had that win over Cy Springs, 28-21. I thought that was kind of one of their more complete games. Cy Springs is always good. It's going to be one of those games where Calvin Thomas, the linebacker for Cy Ranch, is going to need to step up. Of course, you might remember his dad played at Texas A&M for R.C. Slocum. Well, Calvin, he definitely is the leader on the defense for Cy Ranch, and it's up to him to find a way to stop TK Gaines, because I think linebackers can match up well with Gaines and get a little extra pressure on him and maybe even make a pick or two. We'll see.
Absolutely, and it's a big deal there, because with Richland's loss to Cy Springs, where they gave up 28 points in the 4th quarter to lose to Cy Springs, that district's wide open.
Waller and Cy Ranch, I mean, this is an interesting matchup, no doubt.
I feel like both of these squads are playoff bound.
Yeah,
this is going to kind of show us where they're at. Tight at the top in 14-6A too. Matter of fact, we're not in this district a lot because it's extremely top heavy, meaning just the top two teams, and they're finally playing each other this Thursday night at Thorne when Aldine Nimitz takes on Spring Westfield.
Yeah, both teams are 2-0. Nimitz is 4-1 overall. A little bit of a surprise there. You know, Westfield was competitive against CE King in week 1, falling 32-14. Then lost to Nailbiter to Hightower before falling to North Shore. Since then, the Mustangs have won both district games, shutting out Spring High and Decaney High by a combined total of 70-0. DeMonte Ford leads Westfield in rushing with 80 yards per game. Cameron Hubbard, he's the quarterback. He's got some impressive stats as well. And his favorite target is Emmanuel Yancey, who leads the Mustangs in receiving with close to 200 yards this year. Nimitz has beaten Aldine High and MacArthur by a combined 127-7 in their two district games. Those were the last couple of weeks. They did lose to Beaumont United earlier. Nimitz, who opened the season with a 2-point win against Morton Ranch, surprised a lot of folks with their lopsided win over Cypress Ridge, 50-16, probably their most complete game of the year. That win stood out to me. Nimitz and Westfield have been pretty much right there with Ben Davis, one of the newer high schools, all at 2-0 in 14-6A. But again, Nimitz has outscored their opponents 219-88. We'll see how that all plays out this week.
I had a chance to talk to Cornelius Harmon a little bit a couple of days ago. We're talking about, he's the Aldine Nimitz head coach, talking about that big matchup with Spring Westfield. So let's take a look at that in our Media Day segment.
The Houston area Chevy dealers. Visit your nearest Chevy dealer to test drive our award-winning products. Serving up the best treats and eats in Texas. Stop by DQ and treat yourself before and after the game.
All right, thanks for joining me, Coach Harmon. And we're talking about the big one in 14-6A, the one that everybody had circled. Even the teams that ain't running for a district title, they circled this one for Thursday night out there at Thorne. Talk to me about having a chance, and you've had chances in the last couple of years, but a legitimate chance to make a run at that crown and take down the giant that they call Spring Westfield over there.
Correct. Yes, sir. So this has been our expectations since day one. But it's here now. I think we're well capable of doing it. We get Albert Brown back this week, hopefully. We just become that much better. But this was our goal, our expectations since day one.
And you guys have been clicking even without Albert. I mean, we were at the MacArthur game and points galore. You probably could have shut that thing down at halftime. Talk about the guys that have been working for you. Even with Albert hurt, what are the guys you kind of been leaning on here?
Well, we're a senior-led team. When I took this job in March of 2022, our first year we played 17, 18 sophomores at the time, and now those guys now are just seniors. You're talking about guys like Malachi, Augustus, Colin Williams, Daniel Bender, Brashard Miles, Caden Phillips, Javon Hicks, Jalen Jackson. These guys are just seniors.
And the thing is, with 14-6A, you guys got 13-6A in the first round of the playoffs. Those guys have been really playing some good ball, so it's even more key to get that first spot, so you don't have to deal with the College Park that's playing crazy and so that puts a little bit even more importance. You obviously can't portray that to the kids. It's one game at a time, but maybe in the back of your mind, man, we grabbed this title, man. We got a better road in front of us.
No doubt. That, like I said, that's our expectations. To win district. So we'll be the number one big school seed, and then of course we'll play the bottom half of 13-6A.
You guys have had a shutout, a couple of 7-point games. Talk to me what's been clicking for your defense.
Our D-line is the strength of our defense, and as well as those guys like Javon Hicks and Jalen Jackson in the secondary, along with Anthony Jordan. These guys just been around for a while, so they understand that.
I was just going to finish with talk about the fact that this is a Thursday game. Is that kind of a bothersome deal that you lose a day of practice, or are you guys been so ready since the beginning of the season it doesn't really matter?
I don't think it really matters. The the good thing about it, we have our fall break this week, so kids are not actually in school. But playing on a Saturday and then double back, and of course, it's just a short turnaround. But our kids are ready to go. They're ready.
Ready to go. I love hearing that, Coach. Hey, thanks for joining me, Coach. I'm looking forward to this one, man. It's going to be a battle over there at Thorne. Good luck the rest of the way.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
The Houston area Chevy dealers. Visit your nearest Chevy dealer to test drive our award-winning products. Parker University. Check out our bachelor's degree in strength and human performance today.
All right, moving on to the agenda, and it's Jeff Power's huge game this week. Being Thursday, you better start heading there now because that place is going to be packed up at Sealy as Sealy takes on their traditional rival Belleville's sweet small school action.
Yeah, Sealy undefeated, Belleville coming in with a couple of losses. But you know what? This is a rivalry that goes back over 100 years. Just talking with Herbie Kolachny with the Sealy News, he's doing a big feature on this because he feels like not only has Sealy not beaten Belleville here in a while, in fact, the last 2 years, most notably under Clint Finley, the head coach of Sealy, the Tigers have not been able to beat Belleville. The Brahmas I wouldn't look too much into their record right now because they always kind of find a way to play Sealy really tough. But they're going to have to stop Kane Killow, the quarterback for Sealy. He's the man. He's a tough QB that scores most of his touchdowns on the ground. I think 11 of his 13 are on the ground. He averages about 75 yards rushing per game. Romeo Castillo averages 86 yards per game on the ground and has 6 touchdowns. So it's a nice blend between these two running the ball, and they will definitely put it up in the air when needed. Sealy's Jaden Hernandez averages 12 tackles per game, so watch out for him on the defensive side. They've got some players on both sides, and I definitely think Belleville, their star player, Kendrick Turner, 394 yards rushing, Kendrick averaging about 80 yards per game. He and Travis Turner, Turner's doing well. He's got about 8 touchdowns. Belleville quarterback Knox Bauerschink, 500 yards passing, 3 TDs through the air. So, and his favorite target is Bryson Stewart, by the way. So watch out for that duo right there. And also Darius Hutchinson averages about 10 tackles per game for Belleville's defense. So anything goes. They'll be playing over at TJ Mills Stadium in Sealy. Place will be packed. I'm looking forward to it. Big rivalry, lots of fun.
Yeah, Belleville's got that tricky misdirection offense, but it's going to take a lot more to slow down Kane Killow on the other side. So
that's right. They're
really rolling. Hey, a couple Saturday morning specials, I call them, and they have district title implications over in 17-6A. Memorial and Cy-Fair seem to be the best 2 teams left in that district, and they're facing off at noon over at Pridgeon.
Yeah, Houston Memorial thumped Cy Ridge 54-13. In fact, they beat Cy Falls and Cy Ranch before that and 7 Lakes in week 1. So their one loss was against Pearland, who we all know is really good. Conrad Bennett is averaging 91 yards per game on the ground at running back. Memorial definitely likes to run the ball. I was looking at some of their stats. But they're going to have their hands full with Cy-Fair with only 1 loss against Dickinson, who's also really good. Cy-Fair is led by Arnell Fontenot, 104 yards rushing per game and 7 touchdowns. It's hard to average over 100 yards per game, but leave it to Cy-Fair to do it. They've got some studs. Chase Sanders has 6 TD receptions and 11 touchdowns, and he's catching it from Chris Brown, their quarterback, who's got 9 TDs, 9 on the ground and 11 through the air. So definitely an interesting matchup there. He's almost got close to 1,000 yards passing, and I think that's a little different for Cy-Fair. I'm so used to them running the football over the years, but right now they seem to be really balanced, so they're tough to handle.
Hey, BFND, right, Bob? Fight never dies.
That's right.
Hey, another huge one, 11 a.m. start down in Houston ISD as Yates taking on North Forest. Yates head coach moved on to Mesquite last year, and he didn't leave the cupboard bare because that team is playing like lights out.
Yeah, they're undefeated, 6-0, and North Forest is 4-1. In fact, North Forest outscoring their opponents 236-100. They are 3-0 in the district, and they are tied with Washington, which is about a half game behind Yates, who's now 4-0. Yates led by Jordan Simmons, who averages 81 yards rushing per game and 41 yards receiving per contest. So Yates can definitely get the ball to Jordan and watch him go. And I think it's interesting that they're playing on a Saturday. These two teams, a lot of history here, especially with Yates. They were an old Prairie View Interscholastic League team. And then, of course, they won state titles in the 80s, not only in football, but in basketball and a lot of other different sports. And Yates bringing the mojo back this year. It's good to see.
Yeah, they're looking strong. 11 a.m. starts, so we can't get them. The kids can't watch the
like
cartoons
college football.
in the morning. Exactly. Can't watch the cartoons. They got to get out to the game. All right, that's going to do it for the warm-up today. I hope you guys are warmed up for Week 7, and we're going to leave you now with the coaches poll. See who's moved around in the rankings in the 6A area, 6A in the Houston area. We'll leave you with that, and we'll see you guys again next week.